Chickens! I'm here to do the second half of my September reading wrap up, and I'm getting back into the frame of reading and doing all the fun things. So hopefully my October reading wrap up will be a bit bigger with a lot more fun things to chit chat about, because I do have some fun things planned in October. But let's just get into the overall stats, and then we'll do the second half of the books. If you want to see my first half of the books that I read, I have a wrap up video on my channel. So in October, I read 13 books. I read 4,659 pages, which is actually pretty good for the start of a school year. I read, on average, 155 pages a day. Definitely my weekends do help out a bit. My average page count was 358. My most read drama was romance. I normally do read a lot of romance in September just because it's quick. I read 6 book of reps, 7 from authors I've read before. I had 3 5-star, 5 4-star, 3 3-star, and my average rating was 3.85. So I read 7 new releases, 3 backlist, and 3 from last year. I had 5 physical, 6 audiobook, and 2 ebook. And again, this is just how I read them. It doesn't mean I may not have a physical copy, but yeah. Series breakdown. I continued in 4 series, I continued in 5, and I read 4 standalones and 5 companions. This was definitely a companion book month. I read 3 arcs, 5 from Audible, 2 from KU, 0 from NetGalley, and 3 owned. So I definitely did read some from NetGalley, but sometimes my numbers don't make sense, and that's okay. I read 4 fantasy, 6 romance, 1 mystery, 1 historical romance, and 1 fantasy romance. So, and I think that that's it. So we are going to start with a book that I had to read. It was read a book in a series that you didn't know if you wanted to continue. So I wound up picking up One Girl in All the World by Kendare Blake. And actually, I'm going to put this in my little free library at my job when I'm done with it. I actually had a fun time with this book. This is the second book in the, I don't know the name of the first book. In Every Generation, I think. Yeah, and this follows Willow's daughter, Frankie, and she is a slayer witch. And I had a fun time with this book. I really liked listening to it, so much so that I got the second book in the series, or the third book in the series, to listen to. It just feels like I'm listening to a TV show, and I'm really having a fun time. It does have fun rep. You do see a lot of characters from before. The mystery in here was a very, very fun to read, so I gave this book 4 stars for review. I'm actually happy that I continued, because it was perfect for the, early fall vibes. So, 4 stars. The next book that I read was, again, The Magic by Lisa Kleypas, which I gave this book 3.5 stars, if I'm being generous. But yeah, here's the photo. I read that book. Oh, this book for Aurelium, it had to have 4 of the same letters in the title, which is why I read it. This book I had to read a prequel, so this is the prequel to the Wallflower series. I struggled with this book a lot. It was supposed to be a second chance romance, friends to more, a long time, and I did not like it. I really struggled with the main character in this story. I know there's reasons that he was so mean to her, and I know Lisa Kleypas has been going back and editing books and such, but I just really could not get stand behind how mean and cruel he was to her through this whole entire story. So I struggled with it. The thing that saved this book and gave it the 3.5, almost 4-star rating was the secondary romance. But to me, this story was more of a hate to more romance and not a second chance romance, which I don't always love. And I don't know, I just didn't like McKenna in the story, so I only gave this book 3.75 stars, but it did fulfill my prompt for a prequel, which is nice. And then the next book I read was a random one, and I heard about this in real time from 4 Paws and a Book Brie, because she was reading it for Spiffbo. So I picked up A Rose Among Thorns. I will attach a photo here. It's like a cozy Spiffbo book. It's a cozy novella, and it's perfect for spooky season or fall. You basically follow this main character, and Joanna gets a call from her aunt or her grandma, I can't remember, that she has to go out of town to help a friend, and someone needs to watch her plant shop. She gets there and things are not as they seem. This is a magical plant shop, and her grandma or her aunt or her grandmother may be in danger, so she's kind of forced to work with this, plant adjuster or this plant manager to kind of figure out what happened to her her aunt. It was really, really fun. It was very, very quick. I sometimes struggle with really, really short books, but this one was fun, and I definitely want to read the sequel soon. So I gave this book 4 stars. The next book that I read was The Honey Wedge by Sydney J. Shields. And I don't know, I have mixed thoughts about this book. I liked it. I think I gave it like 3.5, 3.75 stars. But I felt like the romance was very, very insta-lovey to me overall. Also, this book was like set in the Bridgerton era, like that's the time period. And I feel like it kind of lost that at the second half of the book. And it became more of like a fantastical story, but it was fun. I thought the LGBTQ plus romance was unique. There was a lot of plot holes in this story and a lot of like pacing issues. The pacing issues made it feel like insta-love at the very, very end, which I didn't like. But I did overall enjoy it. I would read more by this author in the future. But it was an interestingly paced book, so that's why I only got 4 stars. And then the next book that I read was because I had to read a book that was gifted to me. I read Cross the Line by Simona Saltani. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I thought it was a fun read, but I didn't feel that connected to the characters. So basically, you have a main character named Willow, and she's like a publicist. She winds up getting a job working for her brother's best friend, and they just start to have feelings for together, and he's kind of dealing with some like things in his job that are like not going well because he had some bad publicity, so she's there to kind of help. And then they fall in love. It was fun. I think the rep in the story was really interesting. She does have hypermobility. And it was a best friend's romance. I liked it. I liked the motocross vibes. I just didn't love the characters, so that's why it only got a 3 star. But if you're looking for a cute motocross read with a brother best friend, I would check it out. Definitely prefer Burnout, though, if I had to choose between those two. Because they both had to do with motocross racing, just in different ways. And then the next book that I read was another novella, and that is Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. I will attach a photo here. Fun, hot time. Like, it just was. It followed this character. She's a witch in the small Stars Hollow-esque Halloween town. She's a witch, and she's kind of getting over her familiar dying, like her pet dying, and she goes to the the pet rescue and gets this cat. Little does she know this cat is a man, and he is a demon prince, and they kind of bond once he reveals himself as human. I love this book. It was really, really fun. It was cute. I definitely want to read Wickedly Yours, but I really do want to get the audio, and it's just not out yet. But I had a fun time. I gave it 4 stars. It was one of my first like real witchy books that I read. And I loved it. Definitely hot, definitely steamy, I will say that. But it was really, really fun and really, really cute. And then the last book I read in the month of September was The Woodsmoke Women Book of Spells by Rachel Greenlaw. And I gave this book 3.5 stars. I think that if you liked Spells for Forgetting, if you liked, I can't remember the other book she wrote, the one with the lady's name. I can't think of the name. But if you like that book, if you like Spells for Forgetting, but you weren't about all the death and murder, I think you should pick this book up because I thought it was fun. It was a little bit hard to remember whose point of view you were in because all the names, you have Carrie, you have Cora, and then you have Jess. You have 3 very, very different female point of views. And they are very, very similar, so it was hard to remember whose head you were in. But basically you have a main character named Carrie, and she comes back to Woodsmoke after her grandma died to kind of like fix up the town, fix up the little cottage, and people are not happy that she's back. There is no real romance in here, I will say that. Like, I didn't feel the romantic vibes in the story. But I had a fun time reading it. It just didn't make that big of an impression on me. So for the second half of the month, what did I do? Well, let me look at my spreadsheet because I try to keep track of that stuff. Entertainment-wise, I did watch a little bit of Bridgerton. I didn't like finish it though. But I finished What If Season 1. I don't know if I talked about that. What If Season 1 and What If Season 2 in my past one. So I did finish that. That was a show that I did catch up on. And then I watched The Marvels, which I really liked. I know that most people haven't been liking it, but I had a fun time with it. I also watched The Bling Ring, which was a documentary on Netflix because I've been watching Pretty Wild because E has been releasing it again and I just wanted more backstory. Very, very interesting. And then I watched Our Town the musical with Jim Parsons and Katie Holmes. I got that as like a free ticket from my job, so I went to go see that and I had a really fun time with it. And yeah, that's really all that I've been doing. I've been trying to Christmas craft a lot and do some diamond paintings for audiobooking, but that's really it. Let me know in the comments what you're currently reading. What was your favorite book of the month? I would love to know. If I had to choose, I would probably say The Grandest Game and also Burnout by Rebecca Ginger. So I'd love to hear yours, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.